This is Talk About Topeka on Gab Local TV and TV25. This episode brought to you by Field of Greens and The Break Room. And here's your host, Chris Schultz.
Chris Schultz here in the GabLocal.tv studios, and it's very, very exciting to bring you this segment of our show because it's a multi-part segment. We're going to be speaking in depth about the Drunkard, Dale Easton's The Drunkard, that has been happening for years around Topeka. Rich theatrical history here, and we've been getting these guys warmed up for you. We've been, as you can hear them laughing, they're ready to go. These guys are. We were talking. We just sat here for like an hour, and just told stories back and forth, and we're like, did we record any of that? We're primed.
We're primed.
We're good. This
but
is
I
great.
didn't know we were going in depth. Wait a minute. I'll dig down.
All right, pull from within and get out. Yeah. This is wonderful. We have the wonderful. I'm going to put these great adjectives. The wonderful, amazing Karen Hastings here with us.
I guess I'll love to come back. I'll come back anytime. Thank you, Chris. That's really lovely.
And we have the lovely Phil Grecian here.
And
Phil
talented.
Grecian, yes, absolutely, very talented, very talented.
But lovely.
Lovely.
All right.
Lovely's more important.
Absolutely lovely. You believe the loveliness of me.
The Drunkard, we've had the opportunity of working with you the past several years and putting on the Drunkard here down at the Break Room, but there was Apple Valley. There were all these different places that this thing started. So at the very root of the Drunkard,
The root?
tell us the root. Where did it come from?
Dale stole it.
From you? I hope there's no lightning that hits
Stole a lot of the oleo.
Stole a lot of the oleo. Those old vaudevillians used to steal things from each other. Seriously.
Yeah.
I mean, there were no copyright laws to speak of. They stole a lot. But Dale did learn a lot from some old vaudevillians.
Sure, and he was
that
in
he
tent.
knew and worked with.
It was the art of it. Yeah.
And he was in the tent shows for a long time.
He was.
Picked it up there
Hank
as well.
Brunk. Hank and Mercedes Brunk.
Brunk's comedians.
Brunk's comedians. He worked with Hermione Gingold overseas when he was in the service. Not that she was necessarily known as a vaudevillian, but a lot of people had their roots in vaudeville, and they didn't want anybody to know that because it wasn't, as glamorous as Hollywood or the British stage, or but they had their roots in vaudeville.
Yeah. So Dale stole this thing, which is great.
Well,
I don't know.
Not really.
He took his experiences. It's a culmination, is what you're saying. It's a culmination of his experiences that put this piece of theater history together. Tell us a little bit, because while I have you guys who are close friends of Dale,
We're
before we go
old,
to
too.
Speak for yourself.
Get pudding yet?
Tell us. I want you guys to paint the picture of Dale Easton for those who didn't have the honor to know him.
Oh my God. For one thing, the first thing that always comes to my mind about Dale Easton was an impeccable, incredible sense of comic timing.
Yeah, and you can't teach that.
You can't teach it.
You have to be born with it.
It's just, he had it so well honed that, he could shoot you a look from the stage and he'd bring down the house. He really did. It was just an innate sense of what's funny.
He did a thing in the oleo called kabuki.
Right.
Yeah.
And he would come out, he had a Mammy Yoakum hat left over from Little Abner, and a silk robe that was in tatters, and a pair of shoes. Tennis shoes had been cut down with elastic on the top and 2x4 blocks on the bottom. And he would be introduced as one of the kabuki dancers from the, the Chinese country or Japanese country known as Japan.
That's what they would say.
And he would come out in this ridiculous outfit carrying a tin pan and a spoon. And he would go down, it would take him forever, he'd get down on his knees and put down the tin pan and the spoon. The act was about 5-6 minutes long. He never said a word, and it was all about giving people looks when they laugh. And
it was incredible.
He'd start to pick something up, and somebody'd laugh, and he'd stop, and he'd look at them.
Amazing.
And pretty soon the laughter was just going. And the payoff was he'd pick it up and go ding, and then he'd leave the stage. But it didn't matter what the payoff was, because he just had the audience just rolling.
We have never tried to do that particular thing.
And wouldn't. It
because
was his.
It was his. It was absolutely his.
Yeah.
And I don't think anybody could ever touch him.
Yeah. Just an amazing guy.
Yeah, he really
I didn't
was.
have nearly, I mean, I only knew him a couple of times, but I just knew that what he put out into the world was just such a positive and good thing. It was for the enjoyment of these people that he used his skills and what he loved to do.
He loved it.
He loved it.
He was
absolutely.
at Topeka High, and they wouldn't cast him in the shows because he said my voice was too thin. They didn't think I could hit the back. So he just started something of his own over at Topeka High. And they would do these sketches and things, and he sort of built from there. And then went overseas, like Karen said, and spent quite a bit of time as an entertainer through the Army. And came back here, and he had done a lot of guest directing and acting for the old Topeka Civic Theater way back in the day. And finally, when the time came, they made him the full-time director. And in 1960, he wanted to do something because the centennial was coming up, and I believe the following year. And he thought, well, let's do an old melodrama. So he looked around, and he found 10 Nights in a Barroom and The Drunkard. These were both old temperance plays.
Wow.
And he looked at them, and 10 Nights in a Barroom had a better plot. So what he did was he adapted that, seriously adapted it, cut people out, added characters.
Wow.
But he used the title The Drunkard because he said it was, the ads in the newspaper would be cheaper.
That's right.
Because The Drunkard
exactly
is shorter
right.
than 10 Nights in a Barroom.
So there it is. There's the first segment of our interview with these guys, and we're going to be back with them. We're going to talk a little bit more about the people right after this.